What's up, GQ? I'm Eddie Hearn, and today we're going undercover on the internet. It's actually me. Let's check Twitter. Is Eddie Hearn happier for Katie Taylor or the fact that he just made a cool $1 million off Jake Paul? It's actually 51.9% said I was happy for Katie. The problem is he didn't pay me. And I said he didn't have to pay me. It was my fault, the whole bet in the first place, just to tell you the story. He said to me, if you want to have a bet, I'll bet all my jewellery on my wrists. And I said, what's that, about 10 grand? And he said, $500,000. I said, why not make it $1 million? And he went, okay, shake. This was in a live press conference. My bum went for about 45 seconds. I sort of, and then eventually shook his hand. We wanted to paper it because obviously I don't trust he's just going to give me $1 million. The lawyer wouldn't do it, etc. I said to him, listen, we'll sort it out later. And we won. And everyone said, make sure you get $1 million. I said, Jake, old boy, keep the money. You never know when you'll need it. Gary Cully, very good boxer, says, Eddie Hearn is one of the biggest wind-ups on the planet. I agree with Gary Cully. The problem I'm having at the moment is I'm going into America with a little bit of British sarcasm and they just don't get it. I said in an interview that I wouldn't be surprised if I got the role for the new James Bond. Generally, that's tongue-in-cheek. People are actually doing interviews saying, Hearn is so deluded, he actually thinks he's going to be the next James Bond. There could be worse James Bonds, but I was joking. But they just do not understand the sarcasm at all. And that was obviously a comment that, although, I don't know, I think I could actually do it. Sky Bet are now offering odds on a fight between Eddie Hearn and Leonard Ellaby, with Hearn the 1-3 favourite. It's quite interesting to see that I'm a 1-3 favourite. I am 6'5", obviously in unbelievable physical condition as well at the same time, and I'm considerably younger than Leonard Ellaby. But what you don't know is I can't actually fight. So I actually think that at 1-3, I'm terrible value. I think Leonard Ellaby, a 9-4 shot, you want to be lumping on Leonard Ellaby by KO. But maybe I've got a puncher's chance. Well, to be honest with you, this is one of the biggest fights in the history of boxing. Firstly, we need to do a deal. It's very clear. Obviously, Leonard Ellaby is a minnow compared to myself in the boxing world. I'm looking for a 90-10 split on the revenue of the fight. Does easily do over $1 million buys in the pay-per-view market in the UK. I'm looking for a £10 million minimum guarantee. He can get $1 million. Let's be honest, that's a right result for him. And then the fight's on. And you can all gladly watch me get knocked out. The thing is with this pay-per-view, people will be tuning in to watch me getting chinned. You can guarantee it. Wikipedia. He then went to Havering Sixth Form College in Hornchurch, which was not selective. Barry encouraged Hearn to study by promising him £1,000 for a C or better grade in his A-level subjects, which were media studies, PE and business studies. Hearn achieved 2 Cs and 1 A. The exact story is I went to Brentwood School, but they wouldn't let me into the sixth form because I was a naughty boy and I was a pest. From there, I went to Havering Sixth Form College, which is actually in Romford, and my mum really didn't want me to go to this college. I was a terrible student and I had a real problem with authority. I'd spent my whole life rolling around with Chris Eubank and Nazim Hamed and Lennox Lewis and New York and Vegas and London. So my attitude was so bad, I wasn't going to listen to a teacher. Went to Havering Sixth Form College, and basically there was about 30 people in the class. After about 2 days, there was about 6 left. And I said to the teacher, what happens if you don't attend? And he said, it's up to you, isn't it, really? All of a sudden I thought, well, you don't even get told off here. So I actually got my nut down, £1,000 for a C or better grade, correct. What they don't say in this story was, the old man offered me 10 grand for an A because he thought I had absolutely no chance of ever getting an A in A-level. An A and 2 Cs later, I thought I'm going to be copping 12 grand. The problem being was, my old man said media studies is not really an A-level. That's a load of rubbish. It was when I started, but apparently it wasn't. So the fact that I got an A in media studies meant that the 10 grand was not valid and he downgraded it to £1,000. But 3 grand, first car, Ford Escort, we were buzzing. After promoting a boxing event in Fresno, California in 2021, the mayor of Fresno, Jerry Dyer, declared 16th of October to be celebrated as Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn Day. When I arrived in Fresno and they told me that the 16th of October will now forever be known as Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn Day, I was actually unbelievably taken back. I've got a plaque, I've got everything. And I said that I should go to Fresno every year to celebrate Matchroom Boxing and Eddie Hearn Day. But then I found out that it was only that 16th of October in 2021. I just couldn't understand that it was only that specific day. So the fact is that on the 17th of October, and still thank you to Jerry Dyer and the city of Fresno, and I will forever hold that in my heart, but unfortunately that day no longer exists because we've already had it. So I was a bit disappointed with that, but if we were celebrating Eddie Hearn Day, we would probably start off with a little bit of breakfast, maybe a little brunch or something like that. Then we're going to have just a day of Matchroom. So we're going to start off, we're going to have a couple of frames of snooker, then we're going to go to the pub, we're going to have a game of darts, and then we're going to have more beers and we'll end up having a fight later on that night. Sounds like Eddie Hearn Day to me. Posted, Quora. What does a boxing promoter do? Talks a lot. We create hype, we get you interested in the fight, we build narrative, we select the venue, we do the broadcast deals, we do the sponsorship deals, we sell the tickets, but basically we talk a lot. Next, how do you deal with a major loss as a boxing promoter? Sulk, cry, go home, kick the cat, whatever you got to do. We've had some brutal ones in the past. AJ losing to Andy Ruiz at Madison Square Garden, just left there, we just walked down to my hotel, which is about 3 miles away, just glaring into the Manhattan skies. I love to win. I love our guys to win. It always hurts. More Twitter. What does Eddie Hearn truly think of fighters like Jake Paul? Surely he doesn't actually think they are good for the sport. Kieran, I've got some bad news for you, mate. I think they are. I mean, it's my fault in the first place because I did the Jake Paul debut fight anyway. I also did KSI against Logan Paul. Now, I won't be doing it again, but I understand the market that they bring in to the sport. A younger generation, a wider audience, not just hardcore fight fans. But once we bring them in, we've got to show them how great the sport is. So we got to actually convert them into fight fans, educate them about real boxing. No disrespect, Jake Paul. But by the way, Jake Paul's getting better. You know, he is fighting at least combat sportsmen. And he's putting the time in. So, as I said to him recently, he's not good, he's not terrible, he's average. Nothing wrong with being average. There's a lot of average fighters. But Jake Paul is slightly different to your average YouTuber. He can actually fight a little bit. Crazy that we talk about athletes putting their body and health on the line for a contact sport, but we do. We play, we watch, we enjoy. This is why I think rugby players need to be paid more. It's also an opinion, but great to hear Eddie Hearn knowing the importance. Contact sports, or sports that involve potential physical harm, should come with, let's be honest, danger money. A fight is a fight where two guys are going in for our entertainment. And I think sometimes in boxing, we sort of forget that. We're going there, having a few beers, watching the fight, screaming and shouting. And these guys are going in, not just fight night, but in preparation, the hard sparring, the physical endurance they have to put into camp. So it's my obligation to make sure they get paid as much as possible for giving us entertainment, and entertainment that sometimes can be dangerous. Rugby, another good example, Formula One. You know, all these examples. Doesn't mean that an athlete shouldn't get paid just because a sport's not dangerous, but it's definitely something we have to consider when these guys are potentially putting their health on the line. Posted, Eddie Hearn admits that being part of Tyson Fury's career would have been great. I'll tell you the story. I met Tyson Fury in Monaco. He was about 30 stone. He was sweating, just sitting there having a conversation like this. And I said to myself, there is no way Tyson Fury will be back. Probably in boxing, but definitely not winning world titles. I was wrong. You're allowed to be wrong, maybe once in a lifetime. I have massive respect for him because honestly, if you would have seen the physical state of him, to achieve what he's come back and achieved has been incredible. So I think we would have got on well, but the only problem is there's kind of only room for one favourite heavyweight, and my favourite heavyweight is Anthony Joshua. And he knew that my favourite heavyweight was Anthony Joshua, so maybe it was for the best that we didn't work together. Replied, Instagram. Nice leading the charge in women's boxing, Eddie, but what's this about Katie fighting Cyborg? You really want her to fight back in Ireland just to be in a circus? She can sell with anyone. I don't know why you have to call on an MMA fighter with no boxing experience. It will just cheapen the event. There'll be criticism where there shouldn't be. I feel like with Katie Taylor, we've done everything now. We've just filled up Madison Square Garden. She's had the biggest fight of all time. There is potential for a crossover fight that will grow her fan base, get people talking. Cyborg, Holly Holm, two potential UFC superstars for her to fight. Katie's done it all, Hoovie Grant. Let her do what she wants. It's not happening yet, but we'll see. I just feel that Cyborg is a good fighter. She's a good boxer. She punches very hard. The difference with this one particularly is Cyborg is a big, probably more like a light middleweight. Katie Taylor is a lightweight. She's going to be giving away huge size in that fight as well. She's a huge favourite, but it's a dangerous fight because of the power. There is a way for Cyborg to win in that fight with a punch power. The difference between this fight and Mayweather against McGregor is there was never a way for Conor McGregor to win in that fight with Floyd Mayweather. Why do you always death stare at the opposite fighter? The picture that we're referring to here is Canelo Alvarez against Gennady Golovkin for their head-to-head. And I was actually petrified that these two were about to chin each other. So sometimes it's not really a death stare, it's more of a concentration to make sure that I don't have to get ready to jump in. I don't mind jumping in. Super middleweight's kind of my limit, but any bigger than that, I don't really want to jump in. So I'll get the security nice and close, and if it goes off, I'll just leg it. YouTube. I wonder what his dream boxing title card would be if he could choose any boxer, dead or alive. Okay, let's be honest. Muhammad Ali against Mike Tyson. This is like the dream heavyweight matchup of all time. You got the legend of Muhammad Ali and just the fierce monster of Mike Tyson. Who wins that fight? Muhammad Ali. Go back over the history books, watch Muhammad Ali's fights. Look at the chin on the guy. Everyone talks about his feet, his skill, unbelievable toughness, Muhammad Ali. So for me, Ali v Tyson. Replied, Reddit. British boxing promoter Eddie Hearn could retire in less than 5 years, claims his dad Barry. Nice of him to strike me off. What the F? He's only 46 and he's retiring so early. How much does a boxing promoter make on a fight? Well, sometimes nothing, sometimes a lot. Also, I'm not 46, I'm 43. 5 years is probably a little bit short, but I could pack it in at 50. We'll see how it goes. A lot of aggravation in this sport, but we love it. I feel Eddie always plays this on his events. What else do you think is on his fight night favourites? We're talking about Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline has become the classic at Matchroom events just before the main event ring walk. What else is on my fight night favourites? A little bit of Rocky, a little bit of House of Pain, Jump Around. We play that just before the main event as well. Anything to just build the atmosphere in the arena, get everyone ready for the big fight. Why does Eddie get so much hate? He seems like a decent geezer. I think I'm getting a little bit more popular. Probably saying that's just changed all that, but I used to get a lot more hate than I get now. Used to get a lot more boos than I get now. But I would like to think that I'm a decent geezer. I don't think you wouldn't enjoy having a beer with me. Okay, that's it. I'm signing off the internet.